Alrighty, this is happening. Uh, Yesterday, my father-in-law asked me if I saw any of the protests that were happening. I don't know. Whoop, look at that. And we're gonna keep it in because that's real life. That's coffee I spilled on my beard. Excuse me for being an old guy. Um, Back to what I was trying to say. My father-in-law said, "Hey, did you see the protests?" I said, "No." The protest about what? He's like, there's a lot of people protesting. Again, I didn't know about what. And what I said to him was this. I said, it's very nice that we can see protests and have the freedoms to protest in America, but I've never seen a protest work. That's just what I've seen since I've been alive and since I've paid attention to protests and the reason for protests. And I think the very first one I kept track of was only because my friend had attended the protest. It was something to do with really. It's always rich people against poor people, essentially. Something about Wall Street. Man, this was somewhere in the range of 2005 to 2010. Again, I'm not that old, but I don't keep track of all great things that happen in the world because a lot of stuff happens in the world all the time. So, since days past, I had that conversation with my father-in-law. I learned that the protest was the No Kings protest. And I get it. I understand the frustration with a president that said we weren't going to go to wars, we're going to shut down the wars. It is what it is. If you haven't noticed, politicians tend to lie. Politicians tend to not, well, let me rephrase that. Politicians tend to sometimes not do what they campaigned during, their election thing. And that's not necessarily always because the politician doesn't want to do it. It's just there's a lot of red tape with the government. But now, with this presidency, since President Donald Trump doesn't really operate within the limits of how government is run. He doesn't like things slow, which is how the government does everything. He wants things done today, tomorrow, the next day, yesterday. It doesn't matter. He just wants them done at his pace when he wants it. There's a million things I could say about the president. I'm not going to badmouth the president. That's not my job. It's not what I'm here for. I hope that something does come of this. As somebody who is a veteran of two different branches and has deployed overseas to the Middle East and places like Iraq and Kuwait, they're living my fucking nightmare. Everybody that's over there right now, everybody that's dying currently on both sides, is living my nightmare, which was being in Iraq. It sucked. I hated it. I could not leave there fast enough. And it's always politicians that make decisions for us, right? That's how it goes. Politicians serve the rich, and the poor serve the rich. That's how it's been. That's how it's gonna be. I'm not discrediting everybody's effort on the protest. I'm just... I think when a protest even begins, there's already groups that break off. You know what I mean? There's always groups that break off within the bigger group and create their own little targets, I guess, of what they want to accomplish. Man, I wish I had better words than this, but I don't. It's a sad time in American history. It's a sad time to be a Mexican American. It's a sad time to be Mexican. It's a sad time to be an immigrant of most countries if you don't happen to be white. It's heartbreaking, man. I don't want to get on here and be a bummer, but it's really heartbreaking. Because I do worry about my future. I do worry about my wife's future, her family's future, my family's future back in California. I worry about the future of my kids who are brown because my wife and I are brown. I'm going to post this on TikTok and repost it on Instagram and YouTube. It's a hard time to be a person of color. And you know what the problem is? The problem is because it cycles in between one race at a time. For example, during the Black Lives Matter protests, during that time, people just really got sick of black people getting killed over and over and over with zero justification, with zero repercussion. Did it make a difference? I don't know. Stop Asian hate. Asian people, because of COVID, were getting blamed for causing COVID. They had nothing to do with anything, but they were being physically assaulted. And occasionally, I think it was worse than that. Now it's Mexicans people. What's the people in Minneapolis? I forget the specific group of I forget what specific country those black people are from, but they're getting targeted. And it only becomes a bigger issue. Not sorry to put it this way. It only becomes a bigger issue when a white person gets killed. That's when it starts affecting people. And that's not to say that the movement didn't matter. That's not to say that the marches don't matter, because people care. There's white people that rally on our side. There's Asian people that rally on our side. But you know what the problem with going to a rally, going to a march, going to a protest is that they're going to track you these days. They're going to find out who you are. They're going to find out where you live. They're going to, you know what I mean? I had the dumb idea to go to Minneapolis. But I thought, why would I do that? Why? I live in a completely different state, and there's nothing that's going to fix this situation, even if I go there. I'm glad this is only a 10-minute limit video recording, because I would have just kept on rambling about a million things. But this is America. This is what we have to deal with, and unless ICE is at my door, man, I think, if they ever show up at my door, I'm a veteran, dude. I'm ready to go, you know what I mean? But I shouldn't have that thought. In my own country, the country that I went to go defend in a foreign country, the Middle East, where we're right back at it again. It's just sad.